What is outside of Westview?
Happy Halloweenie, boys and ghouls! WandaVision Episode 6 delivers a nice out-of-season trick-or-treat spooktacular within the anomaly and some regular S.W.O.R.D antics outside the hex, plus tons of links to Marvel Comics in this one, some classic costumes we never thought would appear in live-action form, connections to the Young Avengers, lots more Uncle Pietro, and of course, all the Easter eggs we could find, so stick around for that. But before we get into it, I have to warn you, we are about to spoil the crap out of everything that happened in this episode, so if you still want to watch it for yourself, now would be the perfect time to— Jeez, you cannot just sneak up on me like that! Okay, now that we're past the spoiler warning, let's get to the big reveal, or rather the big reveals because there were a lot of them. Vision finds out what's outside of Westview, the anomaly expands and swallows up Darcy, Vision steps outside and almost dies again, and not only is Uncle Pietro not Mephisto, but he's just as dead as Vision. We'll unpack all of that in a moment, but first, let's recap how we got here. Inside Westview, they got an early 2000s Malcolm in the Middle type situation going on, and it's Halloween, which is the perfect excuse to put Wanda, Vision, and Pietro in homemade renditions of their goofy first appearance costumes from the comics. Vision is heading out on his own to patrol for the neighborhood watch, while Wanda and Uncle Pietro take Tommy and Billy trick-or-treating for their first time ever. If it seems odd that Vision would bail on his fatherly duties, it's because he's actually out investigating the nature of Westview's increasingly questionable reality. Outside the anomaly, Monica, Darcy, and Jimmy are all doing the same thing.
If Wanda is the problem, she has to be our solution.
And since Monica and the gang tell him no, that's crazy, he gets all personal about it and throws Monica's mom's death in her face before he kicks her out with Darcy and Agent Wu in tow.
Clearly you don't have the stomach for this job.
But because Monica absolutely does have the stomach for the job, she and Jimmy Woo pull a Steve Rogers, beat up the S.W.O.R.D agents, steal their gear, and get back to work. Back inside the anomaly, Halloween is in full swing, and hey look, it's Speed and Wiccan.
It's cool. I know I look different.
Why do you?
Wanda seems just as unsure as we were that Evan Peters' Pietro is actually her Pietro and not some long-lost soul from Fox's absolutely incomprehensible X-Men continuity. He gives her some kind of vague, kind of reassuring answers before helping the kids score with the tricks and the treats. Nice. Wanda finds out that Vision lied to her, Weird Herb continues being Weird Herb, this time dressed as Frankenstein, and Vision is out wandering around the edges of Westview seeing all of those children he asked about last week. He also notices some of the residents stuck in a time loop and in some cases just frozen completely, like bugged out NPCs from a popular open world RPG.
What happened to your accent?
What happened to yours?
Back inside, Pietro tells Wanda how he got there. He got killed in Avengers Age of Ultron and then he heard Wanda calling him.
I knew you needed me.
Tommy/Speed gets his powers, so he and Billy/Wiccan are gonna go test them out. Wanda and Pietro spend most of the episode catching up. Pietro seems to know and understand the true nature of Westview, and he supports Wanda in her creation of it.
You don't think it's wrong?
Are you kidding? I'm impressed.
Outside Westview, Darcy hacks the mainframe and finds out that Hayward, gasp, knew a lot more about Westview and its residents than he was letting on. He has a secret way to see into the anomaly, he knows there are way more people in Westview than we've seen so far, and that Hayward is tracking Vision's every move.
These people near the edge of town, they're barely moving. Are they alive?
Vision finds Agnes just kind of frozen like that, looks into her mind and wakes her up for a second.
You're one of the Avengers. You're Vision. Are you here to help us?
I am Vision. I do want to help. But what's an Avenger?
Agnes reminds Vision that he's dead and that Wanda is trying not to let him leave.
No one leaves. Wanda won't even let us think about it.
All is lost.
Pretty dark stuff from a character we're still at least supposed to think is a secret witch, right? Right, anyway, then Vision attempts to clip through the geometry of Westview, and it's bad. He's not supposed to be out there. He screams, the people need help, then collapses, and is clearly about to die again. Young Wiccan/Billy feels that his dear old dad is in a bad way and gives Wanda the heads up. Her solution? Well, make Westview bigger, of course, which she does, rescuing the non-operable and heavily damaged Vision, but Darcy, who stayed behind to continue committing major felonies by hacking Hayward's gear, probably won't be getting prosecuted because she just got swallowed up in the Westview expansion too.
How'd you even do all this?
Even though Wanda can't really answer that question, viewers do get some more insight on the Westview anomaly in this episode. Again and again, WandaVision shows us that Wanda truly is in control of this phenomenon, displayed pretty plainly as she powers up and just makes Westview bigger, taking out an entire S.W.O.R.D base and making all those agents look like clowns literally and figuratively by taking them all hostage with a wave of her hands. Speaking of those hostages, when Darcy hacks the mainframe, she finds out that the people on the edges of Westview are barely moving, and later Vision sees that firsthand. Inside the anomaly, Uncle Pietro seems to actually be Uncle Pietro. Last week we speculated that Evan Peters' Pietro might be a fake out, and now my producer would like me to apologize and eat those words, which isn't fair because he also writes the scripts for these videos, but whatever. Anyway, definitely take that theory back now that we have more intel. Based on what we've seen of Uncle Pietro so far, we think that, yeah, this really is actually Wanda's long-lost brother Pietro. A good indicator? The way his powers work. His use of super speed looks the way it did in Avengers Age of Ultron. Fox's recent X-Men films featured Pietro's powers in some breathtaking and fun sequences, and we haven't seen that at all. Quicksilver is clearly following the MCU style guide here. Another good indicator, the bullet holes in his chest. Just like Vision, he is dead as hell, and just like Vision, if he super speeds his way out of Westview at any point, we know what's gonna happen to him. Back to the anomaly. Monica Rambeau's superpowers haven't shown themselves yet, but when they do, it's a safe bet that they come from her crossing the Westview barrier too many times and having her cells rearranged.
It's changing you.
Oh no, the shadowy military protection agency are the bad guys. Again, doesn't seem like S.W.O.R.D has been compromised the same way S.H.I.E.L.D. was. Instead, it's just run by a guy who straight up hates superheroes. S.W.O.R.D director Hayward is so staunchly anti-superhero because he didn't get snapped away by Thanos and had to survive the 5-year span after half of life on Earth just stopped existing. Not only does he hate superheroes, but he also seems to have a grudge against anyone who was brought back to existence by the blip. Darcy seemed to be onto something big when she discovered cataract while she was digging through Hayward's files, but she got swallowed up by Westview before we saw that pay off, so both Darcy and us, the audience, are left wondering, what is cataract?
I'm so hungry, I'd eat anything.
Now, despite this being a Halloween episode, it was chock full of Easter eggs. Here's what we spotted. Another fake commercial. This one was pretty dark despite being so rad and in your face, dude. It's for Yo Magic Yogurt. We think this is a reference to the twins, Tommy and Billy, and how they wouldn't survive without being powered by Wanda's magic, or at least they just stop existing entirely. For more on that, we did a whole Canon Fodder video about the twins. We will link you to that at the end.
Kick-ass. Kick-ass.
Kick-ass indeed. Hey, remember when both Pietros were in a little superhero movie called Kick-Ass?
I'm kick-ass.
Oops, sorry, you're right. This is a Disney Family show. Blink and you'll miss the next one.
I feel the need. Bust me. Ow!
And of course, that's Tommy's Young Avengers superhero name in the comics. Speaking of the comics, all of the comics-accurate superhero costumes in this one were great, especially explaining their over-the-top design by having Wanda being a Sokovian fortune teller and Vision as a luchador.
Me gusta mucho.
The marquee on the Westview movie theater showed it screening The Incredibles, you know, that beloved Pixar film about a family of superheroes, including a smart-ass brother with super speed, and The Parent Trap, that classic film about estranged twins reconnecting, a bit like Wanda and Pietro do in this episode. Plus, there are hundreds of parents literally trapped in Westview. Dark!
My way back into the Hex will be here in an hour. Just gotta meet my guy over the ridge.
And we're still wondering who is Agent Rambeau's unnamed engineer friend who's about to deliver the tank vehicle that we've seen driving around in the Hex in the trailers. Hank Pym, maybe? He does have experience with specialized tanks, though it's worth noting that this engineer being a him rules out Riri Williams, aka Ironheart. Anyway, what do you think? Is Wanda past the point of no return here? Did she just become the villain? Yes? No? Maybe? I don't know. Can you repeat the question? More importantly, what is cataract? Let's talk it over in the comments. Anyway, thank you for watching this episode of Canon Fodder. For more on WandaVision, check out our deep dive on the real story behind those creepy little twins. And as always, be sure to follow and subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch. We'll see you next week, true believers.
Where's your dad?
Hey, don't sweat it, sis. It's not like your dead husband could die twice.